It is going dreadfully wrong in Madison, Wisconsin. I don't know how Luke Fickell will survive the rest of this season. The schedule is difficult. The problem is this isn't year one or year two. It's just bad. It's just bad. Frankly, I don't know that I would care which year it is for Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. This is not a program that should look this way. They missed a bowl last year for the first time, I think, since I can literally remember being a college football fan, and it, I believe, predated that time as well, because as you can see on YouTube, I'm not that old. 4 straight losses for Wisconsin. Are you ready for these scores? 38-14, 27-10. That was at home to Maryland. 24-10. They actually played pretty well at Michigan. 37-0 at home against Iowa. Injuries or not, this is an unacceptable level of football. They've got Ohio State this week. None of us are going to watch that football game. You know why? Because I already know how it's going to look. Ohio State, that just beat a much better team in Illinois comfortably last week, as I thought they would, because they're probably the best team in college football right now. They are not going to be challenged by Wisconsin. Iowa and Maryland walked into Camp Randall Stadium, an incredibly proud, passionate, rabid, phenomenal fan base, and saw the Terrapins and the Hawkeyes average 32 points per game to the tune of 17-point defeat, or a 17-point defeat. It wasn't actually that close, and a 37-0 defeat. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. And I bring this up on today's show because Luke Fickell, when he was hired to Wisconsin, what would you have said about the hire to make you think it wouldn't have worked? And that's why there's so much pressure and interest and intrigue on this Penn State situation. Because you could look at what Billy Napier did at Louisiana and say, well, he had a lot of success, but boy, going from the group of 5 to the SEC, I don't know. Those same questions will get asked whenever John Sumrall gets a Power 4 job. But Billy Napier, it hasn't quite worked out. Luke Fickell, how could you have argued? Look at the track record that he had. A history in the Big Ten and head coaching success, was successful in both realms, and this looks like a complete and utter mess. It is all going wrong. This is worse than I imagined it could be. This is way worse. Way worse. 37-0 against Iowa early on, when they won their only 2 games of the year against weaker opponents, Miami of Ohio and Middle Tennessee State. Yeah, the offense wasn't, putting up a bunch of great numbers or looking really impressive, but at least the defense was playing well. And now all of a sudden, it is both sides of the ball. There is no juice to this program. There's no juice to this team. I don't know if Wisconsin wins a game the rest of the year. They play Ohio State. I don't care if that game's at home. Ohio State is going to beat them comfortably. They go at Oregon, who's probably ticked off after Indiana just beat them at Autzen Stadium. Good luck with that. Then they play Washington, who, if they beat Michigan this week, will be inside my top 25. They're like one of those teams that in my top 25, which you can check out on Twitter at @LockedOn_CFB, that is right there on the cusp of being a top 25 team, off to a good start. At least you get them at home. You don't have to go to Husky Stadium. Not that that really matters at all. At Indiana, host Illinois, at Minnesota. They are going to be pretty sizable underdogs in all of those games. Maybe they will win one. But this is trending towards one of the worst seasons in Wisconsin football history. Let me just really quick pull up Wisconsin's football seasons this century. Here's how many games they've won. We'll go since I was born in 1997. Here's how many games they won. 8, 11, 9, 5, 8, 7, 9, 10, 12, 9, 7, 10, 11, 11, 8, 9, 11, 10, 11, 13, 8, 10, 4 and 3 in the COVID year, 9, 7, 7, 5, and now we're headed for their fewest wins since the 1990 season in all likelihood, when they won just one game. They're sitting at 2. I don't know where they're going to go. So this is going to continue to be one of the crazier coaching carousel cycles that we have seen, because you've got the Penn State job open. You've got the Oregon State job open at the moment. More on that in just a moment. The Florida job is going to come open. The Arkansas job is open. The Auburn job could come open if Hugh Freeze doesn't turn things around. There are a lot of high-profile jobs, high-profile jobs opening really as we're hitting the midway point of the season. But with the college football schedule, which with the new transfer portal window is better but still not great, this is what you're going to have is teams are going to move on and say the UCLA job still open, though, boy, Tim Skipper, the interim, I don't know how he isn't the lead candidate for the UCLA job right now. But yeah, Luke Fickell does not look long for the road. So speaking of which, Michigan State is off to a dreadful start. Dreadful start. I don't know if a change is made in year 2 for Jonathan Smith. It's not as if he doesn't have any Power 4 wins. The problem is that they look kind of like the same team as last year. I know what they want to be. The identity of a Jonathan Smith coach football team is not a mystery. We've seen it for a long time when he was a head coach at Oregon State, an offensive coordinator at Washington. I know what he wants it to look like. In year 2, I feel like they're kind of rolling out the same issues as last year. They're not good enough up front. They're just not. And as they roll along, and they got embarrassed last week at home by UCLA, Jerry Neuheisel and Nico Iamaleava might be building something there in Los Angeles, which is where UCLA is located, if you didn't know. Sometimes it's okay to just let people know where you're located, right? Oh, wait, the last guy that said that doesn't have his job. I retract that particular statement. They play Indiana this week. That's not going to be close. The game's in Bloomington. Then they play Michigan. That game against Michigan is so incredibly important for Jonathan Smith. There are more winnable games on the back end of this schedule. I thought the Spartans would be a bowl team this year. It does not look like that's the case. They still have to play, Penn State, hey, you never know. But after Indiana, they play Michigan at home. That is a huge game, a huge football game. They go at Minnesota. They play Penn State at Iowa, Maryland. I wonder what the urgency is for the administration in East Lansing. Because I don't think Michigan State goes winless in Big Ten play. I don't think they're winning more than 3 conference games this year. That's what they would need to do in order to make a bowl game. That would be progress. Would they say 2 and done? I don't think so. I'm not entirely confident if it keeps looking like this. They won a thriller at home earlier this year, but when you get embarrassed beyond your first year on your home field, that sort of stuff can stick with a culture, with an administration, an athletic director that are evaluating your job constantly. If he were to continue to struggle with Michigan State, and they were to move on from him, there is a job opening in Corvallis. I don't know that Oregon State fans would welcome him back with open arms, but if you don't think his name would pop up, just keep an eye. Just keep an eye, because I don't think Oregon State's going to be in a major hurry either. But maybe, just maybe, he pulls a Scott Frost and says, you know what? Shouldn't have left. Should have stayed. This was always the place I was meant to be. Perhaps. He's an alum. He's an alum, but he also gave away some of his Oregon State gear to the local Goodwill. It didn't go over very well with Beaver fans. But yeah, Luke Fickell will be out by the end of this year. Jonathan Smith, he needs to win that game against Michigan. He really does. I don't know that he will, but at home, if you can get a rivalry win, that will lower the temperature on your seat. But if they don't win that game, it'll be 0-5 in Big Ten play. That's what Tom Haverford of Parks and Rec might call an oh no no.